We were talking about the move that you pulled. Now, did you give it a name? Was it given a name? Is there a name to the move that you did?
There's a name, there's a t-shirt, there's a whole thing. There's even a rule against it now.
Kamikaze, blinded by the show lights, paparazzi, they know I'm a gold mine. Everybody know me where I go. Why suicidal, hanging with the low light. Kamikaze, blinded by the show lights, paparazzi, they know I'm a gold mine. Everybody.
It's amazing. Like, is melon connected to the name of the move?
Yes.
What's the name of the move?
Well, it was a last lap, last ditch effort. And
Yep.
anybody in sports knows it's going to be a...
It was a video game move off into turn 3.
Welcome into another exciting edition of Up On Game Presents Conversations with a Legend. I'm LaVar Arrington. Today, I have a great esteemed guest with me. We're at the Coliseum, all right? And we're not here for my man, Caleb Williams. Shouts out to my man, Caleb. No, it's something totally different. This is not football. This is driving. And if you know what driving means, we're talking NASCAR today. I got my man, Ross Chastain, in the building with me. He's right here to the right of me. Boom, you can see him in that camera right there. My guy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on with me.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming in. Now, there's a whole lot we could get to. I could get to your background. You're from Florida. You know, you was running around and then you realized that the big wheel movement was a big thing and you were right your big wheel and then you had to skid out bad boy and then it led into something different and then you jumped into the cart and then you was in the car. We could do all that and maybe we will. But before we came on camera, we were talking about history. Now, for me, if you know how I get down, we have some of the dopest guests ever on this show. And we get some amazing stories and stories that it's like, all right, that's a different perspective from the person that did it. We were talking about the move that you pulled. Now, did you give it a name? Was it given a name? Is there a name to the move that you did?
There's a name, there's a t-shirt, there's a whole thing. There's even a rule against it now. It's no longer allowed to be done.
It's amazing. Like, is melon connected to the name of the move?
Yes.
What's the name of the move?
Well, it was a last lap, last ditch effort. And
Yep.
anybody in sports knows it's going to be a Hail Mary in any sport. So for us, it was the Hail Melon. Hail Melon. And it worked.
Hail Melon. There's t-shirt.
There's t-shirts.
Make sure you go on what's the website?
Melon Man brand. I mean, we keep it simple. Melon Man brand.
And there's something connected to Melon Man brand. Now give them the rundown on it. Before we go into the move, give them the rundown on Melon Man.
Yes.
Where did the melon part come from?
A long time before I was ever a thought or around. My family has farmed watermelons for a very long time. South Georgia, then into South Florida for an earlier crop. And so my brother and I were 8th generation consecutive watermelon farmers. They've been farming longer than that, but they've settled on watermelons and they did different things and they got in and out of the business. But we've been able to really find our niche in this crazy world and in agriculture is in watermelons. So it's a pretty quick crop is why my great-grandfather got back into it and moved to South Florida with the family was he needed cash. Like cash is king. And a 100-day growing season, that was pretty quick. And we've never looked back. We found our niche where we stay on the east coast of America. We're over on the east side, but we ship watermelons 365 days a year. And produce now, the thought of feeding this world is pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
And it's pretty scary to think and knowing how few people there are really tasked daily with their livelihoods are to provide food for the rest of us. I'm off racing cars. I'm here in LA. We'll be in Daytona in 2 weeks. We'll be back out here in Fontana in three or 4 weeks.
There.
Yeah.
We might have to do Daytona. I haven't done Daytona.
Man. It's awesome.
I've
Daytona
been there,
500,
but not for Daytona.
The Daytona 500 is just incredible. And I was a fan growing up. So as I'm growing up and we're watermelon farmers, racing around local short tracks. But before that, I was just a fan. So I would just go to the races, sit in the grandstands. And I still know at Daytona right where I sat. I look up there every time I go, and I think back to the kid that was sitting up there with like
awesome.
Jeff Gordon rainbow face paint on, like the Rainbow Warrior car, the DuPont car.
Like the Ultimate Warrior.
And I was like, I just wanted to be like Jeff Gordon, and now I'm out there racing. So long history of watermelon farming. We still do it. My brother, not my whole family, but over half my family is involved in the business somehow, some way.
Big watermelon, little watermelon,
all of them.
All
of them.
All right, let's settle something here. This could make our relationship stronger, but I won't say it'll hurt it, but it could make it stronger. All right. Red watermelon or pink?
Yeah. So I have a follow-up question for you,
okay. All right.
But I'm gonna go with a pink heart. Like the center should be a soft pink.
A soft pink?
Yeah, less red, more pink in the middle.
Because it's less sweet?
No, I like them sweeter. I like the sweet ones. Now.
All right, hold on.
I got a question for you now.
Okay. All right.
Seeded or seedless?
Man. If it's sweet, I'll deal with the seeds. I'll deal with them if it's sweet enough.
Okay.
If it's not sweet, then I'm looking at it and I'm like, why am I deal with these seeds?
Right.
If it's like a really kind of a bland melon, like it's not a good experience for me.
Okay.
If I'm and it's not sweet, right? It's like eating sunflower seeds. It's like, why am I doing all this with this sunflower seed and it's not really good to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the same feeling. Like, I'll deal with the seed. I'm not going to say I'm all in.
You're seedless. You're a seedless guy.
I'm a
you
seedless
can just
guy.
Go ahead and say it. It's
Are you
fine.
a seedless guy?
No.
You like
Seeded.
the seeds?
I like the seeds. Give me
I'll deal
the
with
seeds.
them. I'll deal with them.
I mean,
if the melon is sweet.
You got somebody you're sitting there eating with, you just fire one right at them.
We're
like kids again.
I never looked at
we're just big kids. Well, I'm a smaller kid.
No, you're definitely bigger than I thought. How about that?
First thing you said to me, we started off with it's not the
bigger.
truth.
But I was joking.
Yeah, it was not the truth.
I was joking.
You're the first person that's ever said that. Nobody's even lied to me.
I wanted to gas
and
you
that.
up, so to speak. You get it.
I appreciate this chair being elevated to make us
that?
look like we're.
You like that? Sugar or salt?
Neither.
You don't put neither one on it.
Just eat it. Eat it. However you want to eat it.
I can't judge you then. See, I'd go sugar if I had to do it. If you had to do it,
I think they're sweet enough.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he's the expert, right? I mean, he is the melon expert. Okay, speaking of expert, let's go back to the HAIL Melon. What the hell were you thinking?
Yeah. Well, my path in the sport is not a traditional one. So I got in 2011, over a decade ago at 18 years old. I'm 30 now. So I was 29 when I made the move. And I've had good rides. I've lost my rides. I've won races. I've had my sponsors go bankrupt and out of business. And through all of that, I've realized like nothing's ever guaranteed, and that what I do, we can, if we just keep doing it, we can almost will it into existence. And that's kind of our running joke with my group, is that like we just didn't go away. I've had competitors, boys and girls at race cars, that had more sponsorship, more opportunities, and were getting further ahead than me in their careers. And then 2 years later, they're gone, and I'm still like at the same level, maybe one step up from where I was 2 years ago, but they took 5 steps and then they failed. And we just kept, and we weren't like, I wasn't going to stop. There was times where I thought about it. There's times where I had honest conversations. Is this right? Is this supposed to happen? Is this what I'm meant to do? And we just never could come up with a reason why not to. And so you go through last year, and we started off terrible. We came to the Clash, and we didn't even make the race. I had signed with Trackhouse, my new team, Justin Marks and Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide, like my owner. He's here going to perform pre-race.
Yeah.
I'm not even here for the pre-race because we missed the race, and I jumped on a flight home because I'm a terrible loser.
Okay, good.
I'm a very sore loser.
You shouldn't be a good loser.
The problem with NASCAR is that only one guy wins every week, and at least 35 guys lose every week.
Right.
It's not a 50-50 like any other stick and ball sport.
Right.
So there's a lot of losing involved, but when I didn't make the race, I couldn't stand to be here, so we flew home. We go to the Daytona 500, biggest race of the year last year. In the sport, it's the biggest race. We finished last. First car out.
Wow.
It's also the highest paying race. It's a bad one to finish last in. It's a bad one.
Right.
So our season got off to a terrible start. We get into the season, a few more weeks, a few months. We start finishing the top 5. We lead some laps. We win a race. We win at COTA. We win at Talladega. Historic track. Then we get into the playoffs.
I made a movie about
we
it.
keep, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Go fast.
Hey, I can't knock the movie. It brought a lot of attention to us.
Yeah. All right.
For all of its bad jokes.
It was funny though.
It was funny.
It was pretty funny.
So we go through the playoffs and we're stepping through the rounds in each race, 10 races, 9 races to get to the final one, and we look good. Like we've got a pad on the points going into the final race at Martinsville to transfer to Phoenix, and then all of a sudden we're not going to make it, and it was a terrible feeling because I had several laps to think about it, and from 5 laps to go at that Martinsville race till coming to the white flag, I was actually crying in the car. I actually had tears in my helmet. I could feel it, and I knew we were out. And then coming to the white flag, the thought popped in my head of running the wall.
Wow.
So I had thought about it, years past, and I did it playing video games, but since then I hadn't really planned for it. But I knew that there was options. We hit the wall a lot, so I know what it feels like, and I know how to properly hit the wall, if that makes sense. I know how to wreck a car.
It.
I'm a
You know how to
professional
wreck a
race
car.
car driver, and I've
Right.
wrecked more race cars than everybody in this room combined.
Okay. That's fair.
It's a fair
fair.
valid thing. And so, yeah, I had less than 15 seconds from the time it popped in my head to the time I grabbed 5th gear. And just like Talladega Nights and Days of Thunder, grabbed an extra gear
Yeah.
and went around 5 cars.
It's crazy, man. All right, so it's like when you think it conceptually and you do it, I know for me, when I did stuff that was just outlandish, I'm like, I freaking did this.
Yes.
Like, holy shit, I did this. While you're hitting that wall and you're moving along that wall, tears in your eyes, what's going through your head?
So luckily when the thought popped into my head of the wall, the tears, they went away.
They were gone.
They were gone.
It's
Then
like,
it was back to business. Like
you can't go into the wall with tears in your eyes.
no.
Okay.
But when I did, what I had in my head for that half of a lap that I had to think about it, it won't hurt. It'll just keep going. We have a new car. So last year, 2022, was the first year of the next gen car. NASCAR's biggest reset we've ever seen in our sport. Before 2022, for 73 years, the sport has manufactured cars with each team manufacturing, designing, building, putting your own car on track. Last year, it's basically, think of it like Amazon. We go onto an online portal, we order the chassis, we order the suspension, we order everything, and we assemble it. We're assemblers now. Everybody has the same car. Me, Kyle Busch.
That was a big debate for a while, too.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That was a very, very big debate.
It's the largest shift the sport has ever seen, the largest reset. But it gave all teams the same hardware. Now it's up to our people.
To make it right.
To make it the best. So we all have the same box. How do you build a better box?
Yeah.
And what I love is that I'm getting to do it with my people. So I have the same group on the one car I had the year before on the 42, which is who I had the sponsor with in the Xfinity Series, which went away. So I've been with this team for several years, growing into my role with them. And now with Trackhouse, they acquired the old team, and now we are what we are now. But when I hit the wall, it hurt worse immediately. The first hit, bam. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I didn't really tie the car into the wall exactly how I wanted. I missed
Hit it a little hard.
like 6 inches. It was what I think what I measured was I missed it by like a 6-inch mark.
All right.
I'm going 125 miles an hour. It's hard to hit 6 inches.
Yeah.
And
Go figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I missed
6
it.
inches, 120 miles per hour. I mean,
but the wall caught me.
Right.
So fast forward like 1 second, and I realized I'm not doing anything to help this car, except I just have to hold it to the floor.
Yeah.
So I actually let go of the wheel, which is something we never do. We crash holding onto the wheels, steering. We're hit a wall head on. We're still steering. We're trying to save the car. When I let go, that's when the fear came in because I'd lost control. But I trusted that if I just stayed in the throttle, the wall would carry me.
Guide you in.
So when I did, the G-forces were over 5 Gs. That's like what a fighter pilot experiences in a deep bank curve. my arms just went straight to the right. I had no control. My vision's blurry. I'm hitting the wall. It's the longest wreck of my career. I've never wrecked for that long before. It's usually tenths of a second, hundredths of a second impact. This was several seconds. And the first thing I saw when I came out the other side was a car in front of me I ran in the back of the 6th car, Brad Keselowski. And I looked over and I saw the 11, who I knew we had to beat for points. So like you said, that realization of, I did that.
Yeah.
That was right then, but my brain couldn't comprehend. I couldn't comprehend that it worked. I knew we did it, but I had to get somebody had to tell me for sure that happened. Then when they showed me the video,
like,
it doesn't look real. But it doesn't look real.
It doesn't.
It looks fake.
But you're sitting there like, that looked fake. I did that.
That realization is that I did something so out there and outlandish that it doesn't look real.
That you can't even do it again. We don't even want to see nobody try to do it again.
No, we're done. We're done. It was great, but no.
It was a mic drop. How does that feel? So many people have done so many great things to this sport. You now have a chapter, a line item, in things that have been done in this sport. How does that feel?
Yeah. Well, I like that we thought outside the box and we're pushing the sport forward. That's my second rule I got created about me last year. There was another race earlier in the year at Indianapolis that I took an access road that was legal, but now it's going to be redesigned, and I did it too well, and I made up time. So
a renegade.
I got 2 rules made after me last year. I take a badge of honor in that.
All right.
Because I didn't go out to break the rules.
Right.
I just read the rules and saw.
And you did.
I read them for what I
Belichickian.
saw them.
All right. That's a football term. You know, Bill Belichick does stuff like that. You know, it's in the rule book. If you read it, if you look at it, it's right there.
Yeah.
You might have not have looked for it. You didn't see the fine print, but now that I've executed it, now you know that it's there.
Right.
You're one of those. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like seeds in your melon, you know. I'd rather seeds in my melon, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the best part was that it got us to the championship, which gave our team in our first year together at Trackhouse and my second year with my group a chance to fight for a championship, which is ultimately what this sport is all about.
Ross, what were they saying to you in your headphones? Like, I know we're staying on it, but it's historical, so I want to go through the whole thing, because when you're talking to legends, it's like there's two. That's one question I want to ask you, and then the next question is, in football, for me, when something was happening, when something was taking place, everything got quiet. I couldn't hear anything. It's like I come in, and it's like the play is about to start, and I couldn't hear the fans anymore. And it's like I can't hear anything. But I can hear my heart, and I can see the quarterback, and I can hear sad, like I can hear him. Then the play starts, and all I can hear is grunting or my breathing. Right? And then it's done, and then it's back. Like I can hear it all. But you got headphones on, and you're communicating. And that's something that it's like, can I walk? Can I chew gum? Can I juggle all at the same time? You got your clutch. You know, you got all these things that you got to balance your whole body and what's going on. And in a moment like that, what are they saying? Like, are they sitting there talking to you like, are they talking shit like, yo, you are a bad man. Just keep going. Or are they saying, don't panic. Or are they saying, what are you doing, Ross? Or what? Like, they might have a nickname for you. I don't know. But when I talk to my legends, there's always that cool perspective of taking you a little bit deeper into the mind and how it all plays out. What were they saying to you, man?
Yeah, so a few laps before the move, I was racing with 4 points, like racing for position with Denny in the 11, and that was all around us. It was whoever finished. I had to finish within 2 spots of him, and we were racing side by side. And my crew chief keyed up and said, "Think neutral," because he ran into me, I'd ran into him. We kept bumping each other, and it was all fair. It was all good. And my crew chief finally said, like think neutral. And that's just a thought and a mentality that I have, where I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to think I have to make up anything. I'm not going to get too excited, and I'm not going to get too sad. What are my options? I'm going to drive in this corner, push the brake, turn the car, downshift, accelerate off the corner, upshift. And when he said that, that was the moment where everything else went quiet. Because up to that point, I was sliding the tires, I was listening, all this noise I could hear. And I've never heard it explained like that on the football field, where everything goes quiet. And that happened when he said that. And then I was able to focus, and that's what ultimately, several laps later, set me up to have the clear mindset to think of the wall. So it was just a simple thought from a book I've read that I shared with my crew chief and my crew, and of a mentality that I was adopting last year. Over the last few years, I've adopted this, and I really poured back into that last year. When things weren't going great earlier in the year and I was getting too excited or too sad or angry in the car, or too happy too early, and it brought me back. So
all right, I had a couple more questions for you, then I'm gonna let you get to this. And before I ask you about being here in the Coliseum, because you're obviously going to run it this year, but before we get to that, it's interesting, the debate. People will say, are drivers athletes or no? And I always say, because I happen to be a fan, my family's from Virginia, so you gotta understand. And we talked about Hermie and all those guys. Like, my family is from in and around those areas, so I come from a couple bootleggers. Some super ridiculously committed NASCAR fans. Yeah. So I always get bothered when people had the discussion, are NASCAR drivers, are they athletes? And I said, well, get in a car, drive around, let's say, I don't know, go to a mall and drive around the mall 100 times. And you tell me if you get tired, you tell me if you had to focus, you tell me if you had to use hand-eye coordination, did you have to use anticipation? Just humor me with that. And then people sit there like, 100 something, that's, when they do say, 500, you do know that they mean 500 laps, Are y'all athletes?
All right, I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer, but I do struggle with the thought of when they ask the question, they're asking in the sense of physically on a field or on some sort of just physical side.
Or is that a taking the liberty of assuming that I have to put this into terms like that?
And maybe I assume that, but when I get asked the question,
we're going to have a breakthrough.
I default to a 40-yard dash or a mile test.
Fair enough.
Or throwing a ball, catching a ball, hitting a ball, kicking a ball. In those senses, no. But that's not my career, and that's not what I've trained to do since I didn't know it, but since I was 12 years old, I started racing at my local short track. And since then, I've been refining this craft of driving a vehicle to the limit. And I step over it. Well, then I learn to catch it and get it back under control without crashing and hitting the wall. You can crash a race car, but not hit anything. That's the art of doing it. And then if you can crash a car, not hit anything, and not lose a position or not lose much time, that's when you've got a handle on the car and you're working with the car and it's working with you. So in that sense, yes, I have to be able to go out and for sometimes 4 hours drive a car to the limit with any mistake will be ridiculed and critiqued by not only my team and how we could have prevented it, but by the media and by everybody watching. And I'm guilty of it too. When I watch a driver make a mistake, I instantly, even if I don't say it out loud, I form an opinion of that driver.
Right.
Oh, he should have done this. He should have done that. Watching a football game. Oh, you
Shoulda
got to
did
catch
this.
the ball.
Right. You should have did this. You should have did that.
So you don't, until you experience it for yourself, it's hard to put into words or explain to people what it takes to perform at this level, at a professional level in any sport, because nobody is bad. There's not a bad driver that will pull on the track on Sunday night. There's not a bad driver that will strap in to a race car at your local short track, because even to do that at the local level, at the hobby level, it takes a skill that most people will never experience, to put a automobile to the limit and then catch it. So yes, I do believe that in our field, I don't have to be the best runner, I don't have to be the best cyclist, I don't have to obviously bench press the most weight, but when I get in that car, I need to be the best I can be in there. And so everything I do training, mentally and physically, is about driving that car in this quarter-mile circle on Sunday night.
You're athletes.
I think so whenever I look at it like that.
You guys are definitely athletes. And I think it's not even close. Again, like I said, the hand-eye coordination. You know, I know some athletes that can play basketball really well, but look horrible playing football. You know, guys that can play baseball real well look horrible playing football. It's just, to me, it's all different. But if there is a physical challenge that is involved, that involves a reward of sorts, you are competing for a reward, I feel like you're an athlete. Like you said, it might not be measured in 40 times, but you know what? We're not measuring Tiger Woods or Phil, you know, in 40 times on the golf course or anything like that, you know, but you respect their gangster as athletes, right? Y'all can win ESPYs, you know what I mean? Like, we can win ESPYs together. I mean, hell, I'm sitting here talking to you athlete to athlete. I'm not sitting here talking to you. I mean, we may, like, okay, you're a golfer. You're a driver. I'm a football player, you know, I'm a, you know, whatever. I'm a linebacker, maybe more specific, right? You know, that's a center. Like, I always say you guys are athletes, because to me, if I get a reward for what it is, I get awarded this, I earn this by being the best at what it is that I'm doing, competing, doing it, it's a sport. And you're an athlete in the sport. But, you know, that's just me giving that to you, you know what I mean? Because I respect it, you know what I mean? All right. Here's my last question for you. I always ask this too. Well, before I get to that one, let's talk about the backdrop, the Coliseum. We're in the Coliseum. You keep mentioning short tracks. This is a short track.
Yes.
First thing I heard, or first thing I thought about when they said they were bringing the race here is like, man, it's going to be too small. It's going to be too short. Like, are they going to play bumper cars? Like, what like are they going to use go-karts? Like, how are they going to pull this off? But from everybody I talked to, Harvick, like, from everybody that I've spoken to, it sounds as though you guys are having you haven't done it, but sounds like guys have had a hell of a time doing the race. Are you excited about being in the Coliseum? We're in West Hollywood. Well, we're in Hollywood. Are you excited about this opportunity to do this track, and what makes this kind of intriguing or exciting for you to do this race in particular? Yeah,
it's a smaller track than I started on at 12 years old.
Okay.
That was a 3/8 of a mile. It had an extra 1/8 of a mile built into it. Okay. This one's quarter mile, and it feels smaller. And then you surround it with the stadium. It's an incredible experience like I've never felt before. And when we were coming here last year, I was so focused on the track, you know, everything about it. And then we got out here, and I realized very quickly, this is unlike any NASCAR race that we've ever put on since I've been around. We've never been in the city. We've never been able to walk to a restaurant and scooter to our hotel, you know, just right through the city, and houses all around us, apartment buildings, office buildings, seeing the skyline right there. Like, we're in it. We're not Fontana 30 minutes
Fontana's
away.
Out,
you know,
right.
It's out there, built out where there's space. And I realized through some programs we did last year, and we just did some last night, is that we're in a section of town that might not have ever seen NASCAR, because they didn't go to Fontana, they didn't go to Charlotte or Daytona. But now we're in their backyard. We're in their front yard. We're in their side yard. Like, they can't get away from us, and they know the stadium's here.
Right.
They've been to games here. They've been to events here, concerts over at the new stadium, whatever it is. And to see the look on kids' face whenever they walk in and see it. They've never seen a NASCAR race.
Right.
And they're pulling up on YouTube, NASCAR, right there while I'm talking to them. And they're turning their phone, is that you? And then they, last night, showed me the wall. Is that you up on the wall? Hit the wall. That was you? I saw it on SportsCenter. I saw this. I saw it on TikTok.
Right.
And now they're standing here, and then when we hand them a ticket, come back Sunday, here's 4 tickets. Like, passing out, like, we want this town, we want this city to come and see us. We want to show them. Like, I feel so lucky we get to do what we love. Mm-hmm. But then when you see people's face and they get to experience it and enjoy it, we're a form of entertainment. That feeling of they're smiling and like we talk about on the field, on the track, when everything goes quiet, for them, whatever else is going on in life, what's so great about sports is that everything's gone. Mm-hmm. And whether they know it or not, they're just watching a sporting event and they're just laughing, hanging out with some buddies, hanging out with mom and dad, and getting to experience that sport. Mm-hmm. The rest of the world is gone to them. And for those couple of hours on Sunday night when they're out here watching, they can just forget about it. They might have a homework assignment due, or they might have a job interview on Monday. They don't have to worry about it. They're just here to enjoy it. They're ready to take a break. That stuff will be there Monday morning. School, work, life, it'll all be there. But while they're here watching it and being in this city, we're with people that might not have ever gotten the chance to see it. And I'm so thankful that NASCAR's done this, brought us outside of our comfort zone of being out in the country on some big piece of land with a big track and motorhomes everywhere. There's no campers around here.
Right.
We're struggling to find places to park ourselves in our rental cars.
Right.
So now we get to expose ourselves to a whole new group of people, and seeing that smile is so cool.
You know, at them big tracks, y'all disappear. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, and it's like you gotta wait.
Binoculars.
Right. I gotta turn. It's like, all right, you're way over there, like way over there. Mm-hmm. Not here. Like, the spectators will be able to see y'all the entire time.
Yes. You don't even have to turn your head. You just look down.
That's pretty cool.
It's so cool. And it feels that way on the track. You're barely getting the throttle down wide open.
And then you got to come off. Right.
You're turning as hard as you can. It's such a tight radius. Right. It's so cool.
That's pretty awesome. All right. I'm going to ask your opinion on this, and then I'm going to get the final question out. So I'm going to start this tailgating cooking show, all right? And we're going to start it with NASCAR. Like, we're going to go out there, we're going to get with the tailgaters. You have the HAIL Melon. Mm-hmm. The name of our show is going to be Show Me Your Meat. How you feel about that?
Bold strategy. You've seen NASCAR fans before, right?
That's why I'm super pumped up for it to happen. Mm-hmm. So there could be some bleeped out moments that take place when we go up to the tailgate and say, "Show me your meat." But at the end of the day, we really want to see what you're cooking.
And I don't know if they'll use all this in the show and the pod, but I mean, I gotta ask.
You look mortified.
I mean, how do you like your meat?
I mean, medium rare.
Okay.
I'm a meat connoisseur. I really enjoy the meat.
Okay.
How about you?
Medium rare as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Big into the pellet smoking.
Yeah.
Now
gives it a lot of flavor. You know?
You don't have to stoke the fire or nothing. You just punch in the number.
Smoke it.
Put your meat right where you want it.
You get your meat right. You got the thermometers.
Oh, right in there. Probe it.
And you get the temperature, and it lets you know that your meat is done the way you want it to be done.
Have you ever grilled watermelon on a grill?
I've never had grilled watermelon.
Okay. It's not. I mean, technically it's still meat.
Technically, we can come up with a HAIL Melon
recipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The HAIL Melon.
Do you have to take your meat and like slam it against the wall?
I mean, whatever works for you. I'm certain that may tenderize it a little bit, make it, a little bit easier to deal with.
Gotta have tender meat.
It's the best.
That's the key.
It's very key.
All right. Well, good luck to that.
Hey, thank you. I'll make sure I have you as a guest. Show me your meat. We're going to go around. We're going to have a whole bunch of people, sharing their meat with us.
I can't.
All right, that's good. You held it. It was amazing what you did right there.
Oh.
All right, last question, and I'm gonna let you go, man. And I really appreciate you coming up and doing the interview. I know you got a lot going on and a lot of focus time. Legacy is super important to me. It's always been something that's mattered. Everything that I've tried to do it in a way where it's something that my family can be proud of, I can be proud of. When it's all said and done, and they're looking at you and they're like, he was a fine man. What do you want to hear? Like, what would you want the people to say? What do you want people to remember you by? What is it that you would want them to say about you?
Yeah, so that's something I've had conversations with my family about early on in my career as we were trying to figure out how to navigate the sport. And then as I've grown in my role in the sport, I have my own group on the business side, helping me navigate all this, helping me handle all my relationships with the team and with sponsors and different teams. I drive for Xfinity teams, truck teams, so navigating all that, and we have those conversations. Mm-hmm. Early on, I was fully bought into. I didn't want anybody to know my name. I wanted to know me as the watermelon guy,
or
kid,
Zach.
Melon. Zach never came across the table. Nope. All right. Okay. But just to know me as something around watermelons, because that's what my family's livelihood is. And if I can get one more watermelon to sell in the grocery store on a Monday, well, then that just raises the tide of all watermelon sales. And whether they actually came from our farm or not, that grocery store will have to then buy more watermelons, which helps the watermelon farmer somewhere.
Awesome, man. Selfless.
And as I thought that would change, and it really hasn't. So I don't get too much into people knowing my name. I still want them to know about watermelons and agriculture. That's what I am.
That's American.
What I know about.
That's very American of you.
And so, yeah, it's.
I love that.
And I don't even, I just want people to know us as Trackhouse, mm-hmm. and I want to be with Trackhouse, for a long time. I want to
the
grow,
Melon Man
to grow
of
this
the
sport.
Trackhouse.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm so early on into this. I don't know that I know what I want people to remember me as. I'm not anywhere thinking about the end of my career and how to look back on it. Right now, we're writing chapters, and we've got a lot of chapters left to write. So,
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I think you remind me of a Zach. That's why I said Zach.
Hope it was a good Zach.
It's who you remind me of. I mean, we bonded so good there, man. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
The elementary school that I went to was actually named Ross.
Zach?
His name Ross.
It was.
Ross Elementary.
Where at?
Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
It was Ross Elementary.
Did your elementary? Have you been back to it since you
I have.
Yeah. I've been back to mine. I feel like they're built short. Like when I went back in as an adult, I was like,
wow,
these roofs are really low. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else. I've never asked anybody else if they have that experience.
It's the smell for me. Schools disgust me because of the smell. Especially elementary schools. But I don't like, why do all high schools smell like a cafeteria?
Mm-hmm, they do.
And grade schools, elementary schools it has this unique, it's like a unique smell. Everyone I've ever been in, it's like, why does it smell like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
But I just remember going back and thinking, this used to look a lot bigger.
Well, because you were probably a lot smaller, though.
It's hard to get much smaller. I'm one of the tallest guys in my family, actually.
Are you?
Yeah.
How tall are you? You don't want to tell people?
I say 5'8" and a half.
Okay. That's not bad.
I used to say 5'10". I don't think that was right.
Go with 5'10"?
Nah, 5'8". I'd rather undersell and over-deliver.
You know what you give them? You give them the opportunity to experience your stature, your aura.
Aura.
Like I always say, people are like, man, how tall are you? I'm like, I'm 6'3". People are like, man, you seem like you're 6'5", like 6'6", and I'm like, it's my aura. It's the stature.
Gotcha.
Like, you feel it. That's why I said it to you when you came. It's like you're taller than what I remember, man.
Yep.
It was your aura.
Aura.
It came down the hallway. It was like, bam, here comes Ross.
We were also a little late, so we were kind of walking quick. Couldn't get into play. I mean, didn't have an armband.
Go figure.
Armbands. These are. I could go out there and sell this thing for good.
I mean, that's pretty interesting that a star driver had an interesting time. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? This is Up On Game presents Conversations with a Legend with my man Ross. Yeah, Chastain. And let me tell you something. This might be the dopest interview that I've done thus far. So I appreciate you coming on, my guy.
Sure.
I wish you all the best, all the luck in the world. Make sure you check us out wherever it is that you check out your podcast, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Just type in Up On Game Presents, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Or you can check us out on YouTube as well. Shouts out to Pacematic for making sure that we can put on these wonderful shows. It's a beautiful thing. Until next time, man. I'm LaVar Arrington, and you've just been blessed. So we'll check you out next week.